So hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mels Gaming here with a Deer Hunter Reloaded video. Now this is probably going to be the only Deer Hunter Reloaded video on the channel, as I did buy this game purely to play through and get all of the achievements. And as you will have seen from the title and thumbnail, I do now have 100% achievements in this game. It didn't take too long, about 12.8 hours, and was an interesting game to play through. Now, we're going to start off this video with a decently long montage, taking a look at some of the monster trophies you can shoot in this game, but I do just want to make a quick note before we get into that. I didn't realise until the very end of the game that you could buy different guns, so you're going to see a little bit of those strugs, but I will catch up with you after the montage.
go.
Okay, so like I said, and you will have seen it in that montage, I didn't know that you could get different guns until literally I was on the last map, on the third map. I didn't know. I just didn't know. The store system wasn't exactly easy to navigate, and it was only because I looked it up on Google, like how are you supposed to buy different weapons, that I then realised you could just scroll down and buy different weapons, which is why a lot of those took quite a few shots. It seems like the monster trophies in this game quite often do take multiple shots, because I was dropping Whitetail and Aldad and Mule Deer with single shots when they were just like normal ones, like normal small or medium or large animals, but the monsters specifically would end up taking multiple shots. And then I was fine with like the starting gear all the way up until the last map, and then I was like, okay, it wants me to shoot the Sitka with the shotgun, and I just wasn't getting the kill shots on them. So ended up doing some research, like, can you get different weapons? Because there is an achievement for it that I can see, but I can't find the store. And yeah, you just had to scroll down, so I felt like a complete idiot. But we are now going to take a look at the unique monster trophies that you can actually get. Starting off with Ramsey here, which is a melanistic Aldad, and as you can see, heart shot on him drops him on the spot. Now, unfortunately, I have to cut it there, because for each of these monster trophies, as soon as you get out of that kill cam, the characters start talking, and there was a lot of character dialogue in this game that was very annoying, unfortunately. So I have to cut it like quite quickly there and then move on to the next one. But really quite cool to see a melanistic Aldad. That's something I'd like to see in a more modern hunting game. We don't have any Aldad in any modern hunting games that I play, so would really like to see them added to something. But here we have probably my favourite animal that was in the entire game, Lawrence the monster elk. Now, you will have seen the normal common monster elk, very, very impressive, but Lawrence is just massive. And when he came walking down from the opposite hill further away on the map, I was just so impressed by how massive he is. And it's cool that the antlers are actually white to match the coat. Just genuinely a really cool looking trophy. And again, something I would like to see in some more modern hunting games, having different coloured antlers on, different trophies. You see it a lot in a lot of the modern hunting games, sort of everything has like the same kind of colour antlers. I like seeing some variation with that, like you would see in real life. Now, moving on to the final of the named trophy animals over here on Alaska, and we have Zeus the Moose. Now, unfortunately, Zeus the Moose was very camera shy and would not come out from behind these trees. I waited for quite a while and he would just walk around up here behind these trees. But he's got a really cool set of antlers with like these big split brows that come down really low on his face. Really, really cool looking moose, and I really would have liked to have gotten, some better footage of him, but he just simply would not leave the cover of these trees, and I think it was like part of making this specific mission hunt more difficult, because you have to land heart shots on these animals. You will have seen that for the other two as well. So yeah, I think it was to try and increase the difficulty. And you can see as we drop him there, he's got some scars over his eyes and face as well, so even more uniqueness that unfortunately we just couldn't really see with him being up there in the trees. But moving on, shooting that moose there gave me the trophy mastery for all 9 species in the game, which took a while to actually get the mastery. You basically had to complete 30 challenges or missions for each species in order to get that mastery. So that took quite a while to get that achievement. And the moose one was really, really slow to get because there just didn't seem to be many moose challenges that were actually popping up. So that one took a really long time, and I was really glad when that finally actually popped. But this was the final achievement I needed to get a shot over 200 yards in the vitals of an animal. And at this point, I was just kind of throwing shots because I was a little bit bored, I'll be honest. I'd been trying to get this achievement for a while, and then I saw these elk running where it had like the question marks over the distance, and I thought I'll just throw a shot and see if I can get something in the vitals and it'll count, and it did. And that was how I got the achievement. It felt so kind of like disappointing compared to all of these long shots I'd tried to set up. Like, I'd been really careful trying to work out the distances and everything, and then I ended up getting it on just a random fleeing shot from behind like that. But I was really happy to get that achievement. It was a pain. Like, I spent well over an hour just trying to get into positions where it was possible. So finally actually getting that one to pop for the achievement and getting that as the final achievement that I needed in the game was a big relief. So let's take a look in the trophy lodge for the end of this video and just have a look at some of the like monster racks and stuff. The whitetail, I think, looks really cool. Just an absurd number of points. Like, that is really, really awesome looking. And something that I noticed as well, the models in the lodge for the animals look way worse than they do actually out, like, on the hoof. But the mule deer racks, I tell you, this makes me want Great One mule deer in the Hunter Call of the Wild, because I think that would be amazing to see. The Sitka blacktail is completely the wrong rack. Like, that is not what the monster Sitka looked like if you saw them in the montage. And then we have another monster muley here, again, with this incredible looking rack, which is what the Sitka had. So, a bit weird that they put the whitetail antlers on the Sitka, but we will just ignore that. Then we have Ramsey, obviously the melanistic Aoudad, which I really like the white horns on him. Is really cool. It's a shame that there was only like 3 like special mission animals. It would have been cool if there was one for each. But here's Lawrence. I just love this elk. I think he is so cool for like a special trophy. And again, Great One elk. Imagine something like this, like a white elk with white antlers, red eyes, and just these huge, thick, mass heavy antlers. Like, I think that just looks so cool. And obviously the model's not great, but it's my favourite of the animals I got to shoot during my playthrough of this. I just really, really think that that is a very cool elk. There's a couple of plaques that are empty that it says for big game. I do have the achievement for having, you know, one of each monster trophy, including the predators, which kind of just got as part of missions when they were attacking me. So I don't know what those were supposed to be for. It's a little bit unusual. But here we can get a close-up of Zeus and actually see those really cool scars over his face. I love seeing stuff like this in games. Seeing animals that have scars and, like, it's part of their story, you know, part of their life story, having those scars and marks of where they've won fights and stuff, or lost fights. I really like seeing that, and even though this is an older game, and obviously, like I said, the models and everything aren't great, that's a really cool looking moose, having those really unique antlers with those really unique, like, front tines, and then the scars over his face. Really cool looking moose. But I do have to say, Lawrence the elk, definitely my favourite out of all the mission animals. And then I think either the monster Sitka or mule deer, which have the same racks as far as I can tell, those were like my favourite non-mission monsters, I think. They were really, really cool. But that is going to be it for this video. A little bit like less of me talking in this one because of the long montage of shooting all the different monsters. And honestly, it was fun getting to see all the different monster animals. It's always really cool to go back to some of these older hunting games and, you know, go through, try and get all the achievements and see what trophies have been in, like, previous hunting games out there. And think about, oh, that might be cool to see in a more modern hunting game. And this was definitely one of those where a couple of times I thought, that would look so cool as a Great One in Call of the Wild, or that would be such cool detail to see in this game or that game. So it's always really interesting, and it's been a big part of why I've been enjoying going through playing these older hunting games, just getting more of an idea of what has been done in the past and what could then be done in the future. But that is going to be it for this one. Should have another, hopefully, 100% achievements video for another older hunting game soon, if everything works out. But that is going to be it for this particular one, so thank you so much for watching and for all your support as always, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.